Background is Praise Medley by Team Eternity Ghana, just in case you want to check that out. We get into our conversation this morning, and today we're talking about something very, very important. We're talking about something that I think we often overlook at work. For so many people, it's something we push to the background, and we're talking about bonding, not just hanging out, but real connections that can actually boost productivity, reduce stress, and also make people love where they work. Now, in many places, many workplaces across Ghana, we focus so much on the tasks and the targets that we often forget the human side. It's often do the work, make sure you meet the target, and then that is all. But studies show that employees who actually feel connected are far more engaged and they are less likely to leave the job. So the question is, how do we build that culture of connection in today's fast-paced workplace? And that is what exactly we're going to talk about this morning. I'm joined by three individuals to discuss this at length. I have in studio Melvin Mauli SL, and he's a human resource professional. And also joining me over the phone lines, I have Mary Ikia Ahimadazi. She's an HR professional as well. And then I have Na Okaile Okaite. I hope I got that right. She is a psychologist and corporate well-being trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Melvin, great. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well.
Oh, by grace, I'm fine.
All right. Okay, let me hear from the ladies as well. Mary, good morning. Hello?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you too?
Yeah, I'm very good. Good to have you back on the show.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. Let me hear from Na as well. Na, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good.
Hello?
And can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Morning to you. It's good to hear you this morning.
Great. I think the line is breaking a bit. Maybe you may want to position yourself better, and then we can have a conversation. But let's start the conversation of why do you think that we push bonding to the back? And I'll start with Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. The question again?
Yeah, I'm asking that why do we often push some of these things that the bonding we're about to talk about this morning, why do we often push them to the back?
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, let me say hello to our listeners and a very good morning to my fellow experts on the call. Okay, so honestly, I think that sometimes organizations push bonding to the back because they think that it is always about result, right? What are our targets? How much have we achieved? What is the percentage that we have achieved, and what is the way forward? So the concentration has always been about the goals and the things that we have been able to achieve, forgetting that it is the people who would achieve these goals that we have set, or the objectives we have set for the organizations, right? And so if these people are not in the right mind, psychologically or emotionally, how do they achieve these things? But yes, like I said, it has always, it has always been about the goals, and the profits the organization stands to gain. Mainly, that's the reason why it is pushed to the back.
I see. Do you have anything to add to that, Melvin?
Yeah, I think I align with what Mary just said. I think organizations are always focused on the goals, the objectives, the targets for the year, and how much they have to make as profits. Forgetting that it's the people that are going to drive that performance or the results the organization would definitely need.
Right.
So that is why most organizations have
taken
it back. But then it's very integral to the whole how should I put it?
The
The whole package to as to why an employee would feel connected and want to be in the organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very important. Now, do you have anything to add to that?
So I think it's actually been exhausted.
Okay. Right.
However, the only thing I'll add is that for business owners and businesses in general, they also thrive on a part of the business culture that is self-preserved. You understand? And for every business entity, just like a human being, they'll to apply self-preservation. And applying some of the principles, I think they overlook the impact of the how well their human resource or their human force is and the impact that it has on actually driving some of their goals. So Mary, Melvin, they've actually exhausted it, but I only
Right.
want to add the preservation parts that usually it's what drives some of these. Unfortunately, we lose the well-being of staff in driving some of these.
Right. Now we your line keeps breaking, so we have to struggle to hear you and get exactly what you're saying. But I think I get whatever you're saying. So maybe try positioning yourself better, and or maybe reconnecting. I don't know, but just try doing something about the network, and then we can continue the conversation. But okay, let's start off. I mean, I know we've all shared why we think that people are pushing it back, but let's try to understand exactly what it is, and then now we can go into some other parts of the conversation. Now, bonding, of course, means different things to different people. For some, it's just like a Friday hangout. Some people is just trust that they get to trust their colleagues and pour their things out to them. Let me ask you, Melvin, tell me, what exactly does it mean, bonding? What does it mean to you personally and also professionally? Very important.
Okay, personally, I would say bonding personally would mean building a relationship with myself, somebody, or even the organization. But
Right.
from the workplace point of view, I would say bonding are formal or informal activities that has a purpose of building relationships, building trust and collaboration amongst employees
Right.
and the work at large. So that's where I'll pick it from.
You pick it from.
Yeah, because we have formal activities that gives employees the sense of belonging and feel like this is a company or an organization I can trust.
Right.
Yes, and we have the informal ones that are very fun, lively, brings everyone together, merrymaking, and then they are more of climate. It means that after those activities, they could forget about it. But we have some bonding activities that leave a lasting impression on the minds of the employees.
Right.
And I think that these are activities that organizations should also incorporate in their HR strategies for the people, like recognition. It sounds so formal, but then it's a good way to make employees feel belonged and
Right.
Trusted by the company. Yeah.
Okay. You are also a human resource professional, Mary. So, what would is it the same for you? What does it mean to you personally and also professionally?
Okay, thank you very much. I side with my brother, right? So bonding in itself is about creating relationships with people. Believe it or not, human beings, we are social beings, right? And we normally thrive in social interactions. And so in the organization, in as much as we have all been employed to do certain things, different roles and responsibilities, we cannot do it without the people around us. The more reason why we need to create some sort of relationship with these people, some sort of trust, because everybody wants to be in a place where they feel that I am part of this family, right? That is why the bonding always comes in place, to sort of sort some of these things. And so bonding in the workplace is mainly to let people understand that I belong here, give people some sort of security that I feel part of this family. Okay. So, I mean, generally, that is all it is about bonding, about the relationship, about having some sort of sense of belonging and, security and all of those things.
Right. So it looks like then it's something very important that we must incorporate into the workplace. But let me come to you now. I mean, from a human behavior perspective, why do people even need bonding at work? Shouldn't they just come and do their work and go? I mean, the workplace is not somewhere to make friends and all of that. Why do people even need bonding at work?
So establishing an enabling environment for, I hope my network is okay now.
Yeah, I think it's clearer now.
Okay. So establishing an environment, right, for people to feel seen, felt, and heard is actually one of the things that studies have shown add value productivity in our workplaces and helps companies achieve their targets. So even from a psychological point, you realize that when the person's mind feels safe where they are, where they feel connected, where they feel that they can trust the systems and the system also trust them, you are highly likely to find that you find the best out of that person. You are to receive the best version of the person always at work. In fact, the brain in itself works to produce hormones that are aligned to some of these targets at our workplace. If I feel a certain type of way at my work, it registers in my brain that this place brings me stress or this place is a threat to me. And the brain automatically will begin to release chemicals that will continue to make you feel apathetic about that place. But the moment the brain feels safe, naturally, it will also provide that for the safety net for you to continue to be your best and to produce your best in that place. So gradually, I think workplaces are beginning to identify that this is a gap, and they are looking at creating systems to improve the well-being of their people. But we are still lacking behind a lot of work to do. In fact, workplace stress is the leading cause of illnesses amongst working class people right now, and it's a key thing we need to look at. So I'm actually happy that we are having this conversation. It's great now. It is bringing ideas to the table for companies to look at creating systems. Let's not make bonding, coming to chit chat at the work and go away, but let us make systemic policies that include the well-being, the emotional, psychological, and even the physical structure of our workforce, so that we're getting the best out of them at the workplace.
Right. Okay. But what exactly happens to employees when they don't feel or when they feel disconnected from their colleagues? Is there something that happens to them psychologically?
There is. Like Mary said, human entities, we all thrive on connection. So it's like a magnetic force that keeps attracting, and then now we have to also establish, in as much as we are some way somehow competitive at the workplace, the main aim of the workplace is for us to create collaborative networks, so that when I'm making more targets than you, we are still collaborative partners. It doesn't make me better than you. It doesn't make you inferior to me. But we realize that there's a lot of competition in our workplace, and it's unhealthy. So people will still come, joke around, crack jokes, gossip about trending topics, and there's still this crack amongst them when it comes to delivering on the job. Because if I let you know what I'm doing, what if you become better than me? What if you get promotion before me? What if this? What if that? What if the manager likes you better than me? And all these things sometimes are, other times profound, and you realize that it doesn't bring the best out of every team. So if we are rather looking at collaborative networks, human beings will thrive on the positive energy. And the more we create positivity in that workplace, the more we get the best results from our team.
So that means that if people feel disconnected, then they won't put in their all in the work that they do.
Exactly. And psychologist who has worked with many people in the corporate space, a lot of staff, the only thing driving them to their workplace is their salary. The only thing that is making them show up every morning is what they get paid at the end of the month.
And that's a problem.
It is a problem. If the only thing motivating your staff to come to work is the salary you're paying them, then that company needs to sit down and look at things.
I see. So let's also look at the flip side more specifically. I know you tried to touch on that when I asked the first question, but how does the opposite of that? How does bonding really influence the creativity that people bring on board? Influence the stress level? Does it affect their motivation in any way?
So when we are bonded, we feel connected. When we are bonded, there's trust. And I even made examples with some hormones that the body produces once you feel safe at a particular place. You understand? So once we focus on that holistic aspect of building capacity for our staff, then the chances that even staff shortages, staff calling in sick, staff absenteeism and presenteeism. Some people come to work, they are there, but not. You understand? Some of these things impact the overall, whether KPI or achievement of the company. So bonding, I think Melvin mentioned that it can be formal and informal. Usually the informal one, it will just keep us afloat for a while. But formal ones, which are more structured and make, you realize that when staff feel that in whatever decisions that are being made, in policies that are being processed across the companies, it factors them at the center of it, and not because you need to make money for us. You realize that staff will, it's a nature thing. It's very easy for us to come on board and give our best when we feel connected, we feel safe.
Right.
We can even a love affair when you.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I was saying that we can even take it like a love affair. That when you love someone and you feel safe with a person, it's very easy for you to give your all to that person. And that's the kind of energy we have to bring into the workplace so that from our people.
I see. Right. Thank you very much. Now I'll come back to you shortly, but let me go to Mary now. Mary, have you seen cases where now has touted the positives of this on the person's, the employees' well-being and their creativity and all of these things? Have you seen cases where bonding activities actually backfired? Because there are times that people will feel pressured to join these activities. Sometimes they will feel left out and even embarrassed. Have you seen instances like that in your work?
So the thing is that for everything that has advantages also has disadvantages, right?
Right.
But in terms of bonding, the advantages always outweighs the disadvantages. So yes, there are times where there will be some of these challenges that you have mentioned, but again, we are looking at the long-term impact, right? So sometimes you would have some of these challenges, but there are always ways in which we can address some of these challenges. And so some of these bonding activities in the workplaces helps a lot. Like I said, the advantages always outweigh the disadvantages. So because there are a lot of different people in the organizations, especially different generations, different backgrounds, there are some activities that you would want to do, but some people may like it, others may not like it. That is why it's always good to meet these different types of people at a point, right? So you have to ensure that you meet them in the middle to get the acceptance, because without them the activity won't also happen, okay? Or the impact you want to do would be very difficult because they are not coming on board. But like I said, even if there are disadvantages, the advantages outweigh them. And then again, you have to ensure that you meet these people at a point where everybody would want to participate in it.
So how
Yeah.
do you do that? We're going to talk about that when we get, I mean, when we go very deeper into the conversation. I want us to still set some things, some ground. I mean, put some foundations in place. So we'll talk about some practical ways to actually do this, and then you tell us how we can have that meeting points for all the kinds of people that are in the organization. Because culturally speaking, Ghana is very big on hierarchy, and respect. And so I know how relating maybe in an office you have to deal with your manager, and in a bonding maybe an activity that you are putting in place or you are doing, and how difficult that is going to be. But does that make bonding easier anyway? Does it make it harder to integrate? The fact that we are culturally interested in the hierarchies and the respect thing, does it make it difficult, Melvin?
Definitely. So yeah, we have and we have a national culture, but then when it comes to the organization, we also have organizational culture, and organizational culture is basically how the company, or is basically how what happens in the company,
right.
basically the culture. So every organization has a culture. Culture is like personality.
Okay.
So there are things that cannot be seen, but it's how it's what we do and how we feel about the place. Some organizations have core values that incorporate some of these things. Like if you have an organization that respects friendliness, for instance, it means that you would have you live in a way, or the organization would be positioned in a way that would be adaptive for employees and subordinates and superiors to hang along, but then work would be done. So it's easier for organizations like that to do activities like family fun day outs, where you incorporate a majority section of the generations. So you have the Z, Y, and X coming together, bonding. It's all because of the kind of culture the organization has presented for its people. So it's easier for them to bond that way. But unfortunately, as you were saying, we still have some organizations that see it like, oh, I'm the boss and you need to take my authority and instructions. So those would be the downside, but it's largely on culture. How does the organization do things? So once they do things that are incorporating bonding activities and everything, it should bring people together, and team bonding in itself, it's part of the 360 ways to retention. So bonding is a very, very important metric for retention. So yes.
You talk about 360. Just you want to just explain what that is?
So basically, we have some should I say checklists to measure if an employee would love to stay, and bonding, feeling belonged is one. Benefits and compensation is another.
Okay.
Growth. Do I feel like where I'm seeing growth? And a whole lot more. So this are just a few of the 360 metric I'm talking about. So bonding plays a very key role, because once I don't feel belonged, I don't think I would want to give in my all. And as my sisters were saying, some people just come to work because they know they'll be paid at the end of the month, and that is what motivates them. So once we take bonding out of it, we are losing out, and we are losing our people. So
Okay. Let me come back to you, Mary. I mean, you also have your own experiences. I want to know, in your practice, has that thing played out, the hierarchy thing, where everybody feels like, hey, this is a boss, this is you have to respect their leadership and all? Does that make bonding easier or harder to integrate?
Yes. So the thing is that in my experience, there's been two things that has made it very difficult. One is in terms of the hierarchy thing. So sometimes some senior members or senior management would okay, let me even start from this point, right? So the senior management, there's a management and then the rank and file. Now, some of these activities, okay, some senior members would want to, okay, maybe you should just engage the others, they wouldn't want to be part, right? And there's been instances where there are some activities that you'd want to do, but some section of employees will tell you, oh, okay, I think it's a good initiative, but it's if we are sharing the money, it would help us because we need money. Okay, so I'm just trying to bring these two things on board that sometimes these are some of the challenges we face. Okay, so I mean, from my own experience, these are the two challenges that I sometimes
that you have seen. All right, exactly 18 minutes after 9. This is a business breakfast on Z. If you just tuned in this morning, I'm having a conversation with three individuals and two HR professionals and a psychologist. And we're talking about integrating bonding activity into the modern workplace and how important that is and how you can actually even practically do that in your workplace. And we've said a lot of things so far, but we still have some more conversations or some more things to talk about before we go. But I would love to hear from you. If you have a message, please feel free to send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can call me on 03039 56641, 03039 56641, and then I give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can drop a comment under the post and I'll read them for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them as well. Yeah, we'll continue the conversation now. But let me come back to you, Mary, on this one. Now, I want us to talk about organizational strategy proper. Now, some people don't take this bonding seriously, and I think that's how we started this conversation. Why do you think companies should actually take it very seriously in their strategy?
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, with this question, I'm going to link it to what my brother was saying earlier. When a company wants to take bonding seriously, let's link it to culture, right? Culture is the way of life of people.
Yeah.
When you bring it to the organization, culture is the things that we believe in, our values, our attitudes. So it's culture in itself talks about how how we do things, how we live, how we do ABCD, right? And so if an organization wants to take bonding seriously, they must link it to their organizational values, attitude, what are some of the norms and the few things that happens in the organization. If as an organization you are saying that you believe in inclusivity, you have to ensure that you come up with bonding activities that include everybody regardless of your rank, regardless of your status, right? If you're saying that one of your values are respect, teamwork, and all of those things, make sure you're coming up with bonding activities that people will feel respected. Make sure you're coming up with activities that brings about teamwork. Okay, so if an organization want to take care of bonding or to take bonding serious, it is all about linking it to your culture. Personally, again, to add up to all the things that I have said, if an organization also wants to do something like that, it is one thing to say something and another thing to actually do it, right? But saying it doesn't, we really do not see the impact. Saying it has no impact. But if it's in action or if you're doing it, that is when we would believe that this company says they believe in respect and this and that is what they are doing, right? So if it's your culture or it's your value, you have to make sure that you are doing it for us to see. That's what I'll share about the question.
Okay, let me bring in Melvin now. So tell us, you may want to add your thoughts to what Mary just shared. Why is it important? Why should every organization have that? Bonding, puts in place bonding activities in their strategy.
I mean, just like what Mary said, um, it's culture. Like it's necessary for companies to include that. And I think one thing that we have to know is bonding is not an event. It's a way of life. It goes on a daily basis, monthly, weekly, yearly basis. So it is important to put it in the strategy, whether it's a 5-year or 3-year plan, and then in the first year, what are the key things we want to do? What can we do on a weekly basis to keep people feel engaged? Now we are more of a hybrid system of work. How can we include the online engagements or the online bonding to the physical bonding? So it's very important. And the kind of world we are now, people want to feel connected. People want to feel engaged. So not including bonding is like missing out on your targets by 50%.
I still think that I want us to make a case for this, really, and that is why I keep asking the same question. What exactly does it do to your organization, really? What does bonding do to your organization? I know we've tried to highlight a few of them here and there, but I want us to make a case for that. What exactly does bonding do to your organization?
I want to make it practical as possible without using the organization.
Right.
But then it's just like being in a relationship. What would bonding do to you and your partner in a relationship? So when you put it in the perspective of the organization, it makes you feel like this is why I call home. It would be very beautiful for employees to feel like this is their second home. You know, we all have different experiences in life,
right,
and everything. And for some people, maybe their homes are not so peaceful as we call it. So having an organization that really prioritizes its people would make people want to even work for longer hours.
Right.
So that is how important it is. If you want to achieve your targets and your monetary goals as a company, it's best to include bonding as part of it. It's so integral to the life cycle of an employee.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me come back to you, Mary. And now we'll come to you shortly. Okay. Mary, so paint a picture for us. Okay. What is the difference between a workplace with strong bonding and versus one that doesn't have anything like that? What would it look like?
Okay, so the workplace with bonding is a place where, like my brother mentioned, it's going to be like a family, right? So people are going to feel part of the family. Again, it is going to create some sort of attachment, like emotionally. Okay, people are going to feel attached to the organization so much so that it would be very difficult for them to move out, because at the end of the day, they feel like if it's about trust, if it's about respect, if it's about being valued, I get all of these things aside the salary and the benefits that I'm getting. So why would I want to go out there or go into an organization where I don't even know what is um, I should expect, right? So with the organization that has bonding, it sort of creates an emotional attachment between the organization and its employees. Okay. And one thing that we really do not pay attention to is stress. If an employee is stressed, it affects the output. Now, if company A is interested in bonding activities or in their the things that they have set for the organization, there are some sort of bonding in it for the employees.
Mm.
What you realize is that these activities are going to help the employees, in terms of they're reducing stress. Because, like my brother mentioned, that there are so many things happening around us. Like, let me bring it to our normal lives. There are so many things happening, especially now. Work is demanding, family is demanding. If the employee is schooling, school is also demanding. In fact, relationships, friends, everything is pulling you here and there.
Mm.
And so it makes it very difficult if the person is not a focused person. It becomes very difficult navigating all of these things. And so if the person comes home and the home is also chaos, right? Every time the person is stressed, every time the person is not happy. And this home, I'm not talking about the person's home, I'm talking about the organization where we are calling home, right? And so if the person comes to the organization and there's these activities where this person is, feels trusted, feels valued, um, has some sort of attachment, it really helps in out.
Mm.
If the second organization, which is company B, do not have all of these things in place, what we realize is that people will be moving out, employee turnover, high employee turnover.
Right.
Everybody is just all about, I'll do my work and just go home.
Just go.
There are
Mm.
some organizations where you go and when my brother Melvin does not come to work, I don't even know, because like, who cares? Nobody
Mm.
cares. Nobody cares about each other, right? So if company B is not having these bonding activities with their employees, this is what is going to happen.
Right.
So I believe I've been able to paint the picture clearly.
You've painted a very vivid picture. Thank you so much. Now let me come to Now, some managers actually say that, hey, we don't have time for this. What do you have to say to that mindset?
Um, Again, we will look at it from that cultural point that as Ghanaians, in fact, as Black people, we have still not come to accept that our well-being is paramount to us. It is actually part of what keeps us sane and keeps us as human. And I will not blame managers that say that. It will just mean that they are yet to evolve into a culture that accepts or acknowledges that well-being is a key part of your functioning as a human being. And if you are not concerned about the well-being of your staff, and even you as high level management with regards to CEOs, owners of companies, even them, their well-being is also very key to the progress of their companies. You realize that Mary talked about stress. Stress is one thing that makes people very irritable. If you have that boss who comes in and he or she is always angry, the slightest thing throws them off. They shout at everyone. Nobody finds them approachable. And they are, for you to function with them, you have to walk on eggshells or you always have to be on the edge. You will not bring the best out of your people. So I want to send this as a gentle reminder to managers or owners of companies and entreat that we add a well-being system to the very things that keep our companies running. Because if your staff are performing at their optimum level, you, the manager, you even have very little work to do. They will drive the force of your goals for you. They will keep your company going even in your absence. But the moment they are in a hurry to leave work, everybody's watching the time, 5 o'clock, papa, papa, we are going. And there's no motivation to even come to work. There are people who literally have to drag themselves up every morning to go to work. And again, the thing keeping them is that if I don't eat, I will die. So let me go so that I can have food on my table. Not because I desire to add value to this company. So we need to look at our systems. We need to look at the structures that our companies are built on. That in as much as we are looking for the money, we are looking for the output and everything. What is the input? What are we putting into our staff so that they can bring out what we require for them to do to keep the company going? If your systems or your values align with the quality of staff that you want, you would definitely invest in it and you will not see it as a waste of money or waste of time.
Right.
At the time you are investing, yeah,
Hello?
hello,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. At the time you are making investment, it will sound, flimsy, but the result thereof is going to give you multiple folds of turnover or out that you don't even expect. But at the time you are putting in the systems, you are investing in trainings, you are investing in capacity building, you are even investing in professionals that are coming to attend to the issues that confront your clients or your staff. You realize that it will take a pinch on you, but give yourself a little bit of time. It's a seed you are sowing. So if you're a manager, you are this program, find this an investment you have put into your company, and it will tell in the medium to long term years of your company. It will bring you the folds of return that you might even it will blow your mind. But at the time you are putting in that investment, you will cry a little bit, just like we do for every investment.
Right. Right. Thank you very much. The comments seem to be going to only the leadership. I want to ask Mary, you are an HR professional. I want to know, what role does leadership play? Should bonding always be championed by, I mean, those are the top, or should it be championed from the top, or can it also grow bottom up?
Okay, thank you very much. So, leadership has a very big role to play in terms of bonding because, first of all, if you want to organize some of these activities, if you want to do it without the buy-in of leadership, it's going to be very difficult. And we work in an organization, right? And so there's some sort of hierarchy or some sort of approval that needs to be given before these activities can take place in the first place. And so if leadership is not in alignment with bonding, or is not in alignment with what you as an HR want to do, it will be very difficult because, first of all, approval wasn't given. Secondly, aside approval, if we are humans, we're all in an organization. If I see that my team lead or my head of department is interested in this particular activity that we are going to do, okay, it pulls the other people along because the leader is so much enthused about it. That's why leadership has a very big role to play. Okay, if they accept it, if they are willing to come on board and all of that, it makes it very easier to pull the other members along. Again, it is not only about the leaders occupying certain positions. Even with the rank and file, we have people, when they say yes, the other staff moves along. The person is not a senior member, but when this person talks, his colleagues or other people accept it. So these are the kind of people that we are talking about. These are the kind of people that we need to really push the bonding agenda, right? So that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, right. Let me come to you, Melvin, now. So if there's maybe, I'm sure there's some CEO, somebody listening to us right now. What are some of the mistakes that we make when we are trying to incorporate bonding into the workplace? So if you want to advise somebody who is listening to us as a CEO, what would you tell the person?
Okay, so I would say the CEO should be part of the bonding process. So let me
the big man should come and actually.
The big man should be part of it. So the big man should be able to even steer the conversation with HR. Can we do like a football match, or can we do like quarterly celebrations for our staff members? I want to champion it. I want to be there with them. I want to be there to wish them happy birthday in like the quarter. Trust me, your employees are going to feel special because culturally speaking, as my colleagues also said, people see that, hey, why is my boss, my boss. So once the boss brings himself with all humility, it would make the people feel like, oh, this man is a very good man. He is thoughtful, and it's the emotions. The whole thing is emotions. You feel like. It's an emotional attachment. That's right. Why I try to use the relationship example. It's like an emotional attachment you have with the company. That is why when some people are leaving some companies, they cry. because they have bonded so well with their superiors, their subordinates, with everybody, including the security man. And you see people giving them gifts. If they are bosses,
Yeah.
they should tell you how impactful they were and how even their subordinates really bonded with them. So that's my advice to the big man up there. Yeah.
Okay, all right, very interesting. Exactly 37 minutes after 9. This is a business breakfast on Z, and this morning we're talking about how to integrate bonding activity into the modern workplace. If you just tuned in, please send us a WhatsApp with your messages, your questions, your comments. 0544321019. 0544321019. You can as well send me a voice note if you so wish. 0544321019. Or you can call me on 03039 03039 and then I give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please do well to drop a comment and then I'll read that for you. Okay, let's talk about some of the practical realities now. What are some of the simple, low-cost activities that some Ghanaian organizations could actually, try right away? Yeah, you were talking about football match. Maybe there's a camp they can't go and organize a football match now. But what are some of the small activities that they can incorporate into the workplace?
So let me say it from a point of view where a company is not really the kind of company that has the culture of the team bonding. I think that the leadership can start with a little chit chat where they can have some
unwinding
item 13,
section.
yes,
Okay,
just to get feedback from employees or staff members on how they feel about the company. Do they feel attached to the company? So these are ways to get the information from them. Then we start working on it. So simple activities like a football match shouldn't be so expensive. Simple activities like sending out mails, recognizing their efforts, because we are looking at how to get their emotions to feel like this is where I belong. Noticing small wins from your staff members just to acknowledge them. These are not really expensive things to do. So we can build it up from there, and then we look at the big ones where we can do like simple movie nights. We can do some Heritage Month. So that's where it gets bigger, because now it becomes a culture, not an event. So yeah.
Okay, let me come to you, Mary. Mary, do you have something to add to that? Some of the simple things that they can do.
Okay, so I side with my brother. So some of these things that are not, the cost is very low. Knowledge sharing sessions, where there's identity, of course, because it's all part of pulling them along. So yeah, knowledge sharing sessions, the games like you mentioned, maybe time with CEO, all of those things. Is the cost is not so much, compared to other activities.
Okay. So there are basic. I know there are also some basic games that people can play, but there are instances where maybe a senior employee doesn't want to join. They feel like the younger people, and that brings me to the question I said I was going to ask you when we talk about the practical stuff. And I see a similar message here on Facebook. This one is coming from Albi Ashon. She says that team bonding is very important. However, what do you do when some old employees of the team feel like they cannot mingle with new employees or younger folks? And exactly the question I was going to ask, how do you come to that meeting point you were talking about earlier, Mary?
Okay, thank you very much. So with this particular question, I'm going to go back a bit to some of the things that I shared.
Okay.
So first of all, if you want to take care of this particular issue, the first thing to do is HR has a seat at management, right? So management will have to sit down and structure what will every department, sorry, the head of department do? Because I believe that when you give people, when you assign tasks to people, that's when you can call for an accountability, right? So when you have a discussion with the heads of senior management, all right, you need to let them understand that ABCD is what we want you to do, or we expect from you with this particular activity that we are going to do. If that senior member knows that one of the things that I have to do for this particular activity is to ensure that I bring my people on board, or to ensure that I am available on this day, on this time. The person will come, even if he or she does not come. There's some sort of accountability that you are going to demand from that person, right? So I think that's one of the ways of handling it. Personally, that's what I think.
Okay, let me come to you now. Now, so like I said, not everyone wants to join. Some people just want to do their work and go home. How do you include them without forcing them?
Um, it starts with organizational culture that when these people know that there's a culture in this company where we are a family, where we see each other as colleagues, even though one person's hierarchy might be ahead of the other, we see each other as, as a fraternity where we get to speak to each other with respect, but then we can still freely speak to each other and then have meaningful conversation. The moment that ice is broken, no matter how old, how how disconnected this person feels, just give them time. They'll begin to soften as time goes on when they see that, okay, these things are actually fun and these people are not out there to disrespect me because or by me partaking in it. Then they'll gradually begin to find themselves in some of these spaces. And I might be saying this from my experience working with companies that um, even the C are able to come down to that level and then mingle mingle with regular people, mingle with even the smallest person in the company, maybe the cleaner, the person directing a car park and all of that. And it doesn't mean that staff can easily disrespect you, but it's a certain culture, it's a certain environment that they find safety in, and they'll feel free to share. You will also feel free to share with them, share your experience, because you want to see your staff grow. You want to see that you are adding value to the lives of the people that are working with you and
Right.
for you. So it's about creating a system of trust in that environment where even the older people feel that these Gen Zs are not, look at them, they are, we don't hope more, they will just walk over.
Yeah.
But once they find that they can trust the people that they are working with and everything is built on mutual respect, no matter how up the hierarchy the person is, you realize that there will be a time that they want to participate. They want to be part of those games. They want to, is it tag of war or tag of peace? And then you find the boss there pulling the rope, and everyone is like, what? So it adds actually good value to the teams, the departments, when they see that the people they report to naturally have fun.
Right. So it's very important. And all these things we're talking about seems to only be targeted at corporate spaces, but even in the informal sector, how can they also incorporate this into the kind of work that they do? So for somebody who has like a restaurant, they have their workers come and work and go home and all of that. How can they incorporate that? And I want to direct that to you, Melvin.
Wow. I never even
Yeah,
thought about it that way.
like
But then yeah, that's a good it's a good point.
Because of course those people too, their mental health matters.
Yes,
They
yes.
like they also need a connection.
Yes.
They need to feel like they belong and
Yes.
all of that. So how do they do that?
So looking at the informal space, let's look at how the restaurants. Some restaurants operate 24/7. Like when I say like Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So maybe they will just have after church and they have to be there. But I think one of the ways for them to feel belonged is to give them at least a day off where they can stay at home to relax, or what they can do is to maybe employ not more than one. So for a row, we have 2 people, so they can take some shifts. Then maybe create something like a team lead group where we have a supervisor in charge of maybe a group of 6 people. On the days they are off, they could do some small hangout somewhere, play some games somewhere. I mean, it shouldn't be too expensive, but then they should feel like, oh, I work at a restaurant where they prioritize me as a person, that I'm not in quotes a workaholic, but then I have time for myself. I have some time to also bond with my colleagues at work, even though it's an informal sector. But that's actually a great way to see it, because I didn't even think
about those
it in
people
that
as well.
point. Yeah,
Right,
also
okay,
important.
let me hear from Mary as well. Mary, what do you also think?
Okay, thank you for that. Honestly, I think that sector is always left behind,
Yeah.
honestly. But I believe that as we are discussing here, those listening can also take one or two out of that. So I side with my brother, but to add up to all that he said, I think that in a sector like that, one way we can take care of the bonding is, to have some sort of celebrations, days that is the person's birthday. Maybe you can give the person a day off just to rest. All of those things, I think those are some of the things that will let the person know that my company or the restaurant thinks about me. Okay, it shouldn't always be Monday to Sunday, but if it's my birthday and then my boss is telling me to stay home, to rest and enjoy the day, it would also make me feel part of it. Another thing too is that it's recent that some organizations are trying, but that sector, in terms of training, having some sort of knowledge sharing, they don't do those things. But
Yeah.
now some are trying to do that. So I think that those who are not doing things like that can also incorporate that and add it to make the people feel that though I'm working, I'm a waitress, or and like somebody who takes the money and all of those
Yeah,
things,
cashier.
but my boss also thinks about me, thinks about some of the things that I think we can do to better place the restaurant in a good way. So I think these are some of the
These are
things they
some of the
can do.
things, right? I don't know, Mary. Sorry. Now, do you have anything to add to that?
So I only add that um such businesses could start by, first of all, business owners building a culture in that space.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Nah, we can't quite hear you at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah. Let's try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you speak Letty.
All right. So I was saying that for such businesses, they can start by creating a system of empathy in their small business, where your staff or anyone that works for you knows that you are not using them in quote, but they are also part of the people you consider family, or the people you consider the driver of your company. They can also create a shift system where their staff are not working all around the clock, for people who run 24-hour services. So maybe even in a common restaurant or a boutique, you can have, say, 2 waitresses instead of 1. And in this case, they alternate. So this person works 3 days, this person works 3, so that the other person can have the number of days that they are not working to themselves. And they are not working 24 hours, 7 days, and it goes on and on and on. So they come to work always drained and worn out, and gradually it will tell on how they even relate to your customers. The moment you see that your staff are beginning to be snappy. And when we talk about informal sector, it even comes all the way down to homes, that house help in your house. What is the system of empathy that you have put in place to make your house help feel seen and feel heard and feel that they belong to your household? So they can adapt some of these little things, and then also again create a safety net for people that work for you, no matter how small it is. How are you to your staff? The tone sometimes our entrepreneurs use when they are addressing the people that work for them is a bit um, uncomfortable. And once people see that you are speaking to them in demeaning ways, in ways that dehumanize them, they may sabotage your company by also bringing their bad selves to the company, and you begin out on your profits. So I think it is not exclusive to people who are having structured mainstream form system, but even the smallest companies, the smallest shops, and you as the shop in the corner, it starts with how you are also even speaking to the people that patronize your company. So by the time you are employing someone, they see how you relate to your customers and they emulate that system.
Okay, right. Our time is fast spent. We'll try and touch on a few other things and then we can wrap up. Now, I know HR often deals with a lot of issues. I mean, cliques, favoritism, and even gossip. How do you ensure that bonding doesn't create those divisions instead of unity? Melvin.
I mean, HR should be centered in opening up to people, like not personal life, but I mean open to the people, for people to come to you to talk about such stuff. So if people feel like they are they feel like they are being talked about and everything, I think HR should be able to be should allow them to be heard through conversations and also respecting their privacy. But then I don't think it should affect team bonding, because when we come as a team, we 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 put aside all differences. Another thing we can also do is to come up with forums where employees can talk about some of these things. So maybe we can have an independent person, we can nominate someone to sit in while we have those difficult conversations. It could be HR, so HR can have a forum where if I know I have something against you, we can sit on that forum and discuss it till it's all cleared and done. So it's all about the organization and what they stand for and what they believe. So
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Now, Mary, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so to add up to that, what I would say is that once it's humans that are in the organization, whether formal or informal, some of these things are bound to happen. But if there's an issue where somebody reports the issue, it shouldn't be something that we are going to sit on it for long. The person might feel that we are trying to ignore the issue or to think that what he or she is feeling is not valid. But let the person understand that what you're saying or how you feel is very valid. But we are going to handle it. And in handling it, ensure that you are doing it, you are not going to take so long, because when issues happen in the organization and it takes very long before it's being taken care of, that's when people think that even if I go and report the second one, nothing will happen,
Nothing will
because
happen.
even
Right.
the first one will happen,
Mm.
right? But if they you make them feel like, yeah, we understand how you feel, and we are doing ABCD to help resolve that, and indeed you do it, they would know that yes, if something like this would happen, it would be taken care of. And one of the things that limits gossip or cliques and all that. Another thing too I can add is that sometimes in the organizations, when there are some sort of that people create some sort of cliques in terms of levels, so people would begin to feel that this person is a cleaner or this person is below my level, in terms of position. And so it's very difficult for the person to um kind of bond with somebody like that. Now, what we have to do as people in an organization is to see every person as one. when you come to the family setting or when you go to your house, I believe that you don't see children as their kids and so they are not valued, or you don't see your brother or sister who has not gotten that level of education you have as somebody who is not needed, or somebody who doesn't is not even relevant. We don't do that to our family members.
Mm.
If we don't do to I mean in our house, we shouldn't also bring that in the organization. So these are some of the things that we can speak to the employees about. Find one way or two ways to help handle these gossips and cliques in the organization.
Mm. Right, very important. Okay, thank you very much. Let's try and wrap up now. But how do we measure the impact of bonding? Because we're just talking about let's do it, let's do it. It's very important. Let's do it. But how can we measure the impact? Is there a way? Is there a metric? Is there some things we can put in place to measure it, Mary?
Okay. One thing I would say is that if you want to measure something, I mean, if you do an activity, right, and we are talking about impact, you need to measure it. Now, data, because of data, we are able to speak to the numbers and know that this is the percentage and all of those things. And so, if you want to measure it, let's say after an activity, right, you can sort of give some employee survey where they'll give you feedback on how the activity went, ways in which we can improve. All of these things will help you measure it and to improve it the next time. Okay, because sometimes um, there's there's a local dialect that we say no
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so you will think that you are doing the activity and it's going to help and all of those things, but maybe there's some section of employees who think that adenankoye, right? And so when these surveys are available for feedback, it would help you to measure it and to improve it the next time. That's
Mm.
the impact that we are talking about here.
Mm. I see. Right. Now, do you have anything to add to that?
That also add again to just buttress the feedback side is that if we make bonding activities or some of these systems as part of our policies, reviewing of policies is how we will know that this policy is working or not. So we can create a system of review of some these initiatives. So it's not just a one-off program that happened, but we know that we have a corporate culture of, let's say, empathy in this company. So we will create reviews of that policy of empathy amongst staff, amongst management, etc. And then that's how we tell that okay, this policy is yielding results. People are feeling heard. People are feeling seen. People's stress are being managed well, and then it also gives us a direction on ways forward, how to improve of some of these policies in the workplace. So feedback is actually great. I actually wanted to say something about the how to limit gossip and all of that. I only wanted to add that HR should include boundaries in some of our corporate systems. That the
Mm.
fact that we are bonded and feel like we are together does not mean that we can disrespect ourselves. But if there's boundaries that are in place, people respect the boundaries, then definitely we are going to have a sane environment where all of us thrive as a body, as a unit. But
And that's
then out of respect, out of human dignity.
and that is very very important. I was actually going to ask that how do you draw that balance from professional boundaries and also the personal boundaries? How do you set those boundaries?
So in as much as we can joke, we know discipline is discipline. And when we are being queried, it's not because we are being picked, but it is all part of the bonding. If we even bring it to our families, your parents or as parents, we will reprimand our children, but it is not because we hate them. It is all to straighten them and then to add value to the systems of the family. So the same with the workplace, that in as much as you can give your boss a high five, does not mean that you can speak to them anyhow or you pick um them items of topic you can be discussing in the workplace. If you fall behind on deadlines, your boss has every right to ask you questions that Why are you delaying? Is there a problem? And because we know that all this is geared towards our well-being and the bonding systems in the company, we are also free to open up and then share. But in places where we have to establish discipline or even query, it is still coming from a place of love and as part of the well-being of us. So boundaries are very important in setting the records straight. That we
Right.
play, there's time for everything. So we are not using hours to just small talk and then create clicks. If we have to work, we have to work. When you leave the work and you want to form clicks outside, make sure that those clicks are not impacting negatively on the productivity of the work once you are there.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if there's anything we were supposed to talk on that, or you wanted to touch on before we go, Melvin.
Okay, so just to add up to the measuring it, sometimes the formal way with the surveys are also important, but then just right after a successful bonding session, you would hear a lot of approvals from employees saying that, oh, HR, you've done well, oh, we want more of this. It's also another way to measure it. Yeah, so basically that's what I wanted to add.
Right.
To it.
Okay, how about you, Mary? Anything you want to say finally?
Okay, so my final words, right? Hello.
Yes, your final words. Yeah.
Okay, so to everybody listening to me and to the entire team, this is just from me. In as much as we are in an organization and the goals that have been set for us, there are some duties, the roles, the objectives that, and some targets that we need to achieve. Okay, even with that, we need to also understand that the people who will achieve all of these things is very important. Okay, so we have to ensure that these people are in the right frame of mind. They are available, emotionally, physically, to help us achieve these goals. So that's just from me. And also, let's also accept and value each other in the workplaces, regardless of your educational background, your status, all of those things. Ensure that you are not looking down on other people in the organization. Make sure your colleagues in the workplace feel valued, they feel motivated, they feel that they are part of the family we are trying to, set. So that's just me to anybody listening to us. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me also give the same opportunity to Na. Maybe anything you want to say finally.
All right. Final word. Just encourage all corporate organizations, both formal and informal, that now employee assistance is becoming a key thing in our corporate space. And I will encourage that if you have the funds to employ a professional, a well-being professional like a psychologist, who can actually develop systems that promote well-being cultures and structure in your company, it will go a long way. The person doesn't even have to come work every day, but it can be an on-call professional who helps you streamline some of these systems and then to push the culture going. Sometimes your staff, because they are very comfortable with you, they are unable to share some of these concepts. But if there's an independent person who is trained to hold the confidentialities of staff, they are able to share more. And in areas where staff are in distress, that person has the professional expertise to deal with the stress, the burnout, and all other things that confront your staff, relationship issues, grief, etc., where HR does not have the professional expertise to treat those concerns. You will have this person on standby or on call who comes to attend to some of the issues and also helps in building the systemic policies that drive holistic well-being in our corporate spaces. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Melvin says he has something finally to say too. So Melvin, please do that, and then we can
finally, what I would say is the bonding starts from the top to bottom. So leaders should push and move their agenda. steered by HR. So that's how I want to
all
end
right.
it, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies. Really grateful that you made time this morning to join me. I'm so grateful. Thank you. All right. So that's how we wrap up today on the Business Breakfast on Z. All right. A special thank you to my guests. What a conversation we've had this morning. And a very powerful way to wrap up the week. We're talking about bonding activity into the modern workplace. And Mary Eke Ahima Dazi is an HR professional. Also, Melvin Mauli SL is also an HR professional. And then Na Okaile Okainte, a psychologist and corporate well-being trainer. These are the individuals who joined me this morning to have this conversation. Right, so what is clear in our conversation this morning is that bonding isn't just fun and games. It's actually the glue that holds productivity, creativity, and well-being together. And there's a very popular quote by Maya Angelou. I'm sure you've heard it before. It said that people may forget what you said or did, but never how you made them feel. And that is the essence of workplace bonding. Well, a big thank you to my guest once again, and thank you to you as well for listening. We have very interesting programs coming up today. Please keep listening to Z101.9 FM. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. We're back again next week for more interesting conversations. Please do well to take care of yourself. And when you think Ghana, think Z. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. It's all from Timberland.